Men, and I use the term loosely. I have here in front of you a crusty, musty old Magneto. And no, this is not a Harley Magneto. I think this is a unit construction Triumph Magneto. I think. Don't know for sure, but I think. This thing is rough. Got a couple screws broken off in the top. Going to get those out. If you're a Triumph guy who happened upon this channel by accident or on purpose, you may want to avert your eyes because I'm going to probably destroy this Magneto, at least as far as using it on a Triumph is concerned. And I don't know, maybe in a Triumph world this thing is worth a boatload of money. I don't know. But I'm going to proceed down the path I'm going to proceed anyway. My goal here is, I think I could turn this into a Harley Magneto. Man, probably going to have to cut that off. The bosses over here for the mounting the base. This is where the screws would go if it was a Harley. So I think this was originally a Harley casting, and the mold was modified by adding this flange to make it fit a Triumph. This inside diameter here matches the the outside diameter of this inner circle here matches the inside diameter of the base of a Harley Magneto, the base. And I think I could just mill all of this off of here, drill some holes, and make it work on a Harley with the appropriate magnet and coil. So that's what we're going to try to do today. So I think the first thing I want to do is drill these two screws out, and I think I'm going to do it over on the milling machine because because I don't want to fuck it up, and if I clamp it down in the mill, I'll be more likely to get the center of the holes, etc., etc. I'm going to try one more time to get this screw off. And screw it in a little bit. And then try to screw it out. Ah, it's coming. I think. Tight, tight, tight. Part one of the project is done. Part two of the project. I'm going to try to flatten these off a little bit. Those screws are not filing easily. Bottom bearing is, of course, locked up, but I'm going to get the snap ring out of there and try to drive it out. I've got these snap ring pliers. Geez, I bought these things 50 years ago, and I bought them because they could reach down inside a long bore, of course. And I bought them for taking the snap rings out of front brake master cylinders is what I bought them for. And the bearing is totally trashed, of course. And it came out. Nothing like thick layers of rust. out to the mill to extract these screws. So I've got the mag locked down to the bed of the mill. There is a hold down stud that goes through to a T-bolt that it has got a slug securing the base, so it's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to put the cap on here. And I've been playing with the mill table, you know, back and forth, in and out, to get this to line up with the center drill. And what I noticed was if I just put a finger right here, if the center drill is not precisely lined up, which it's not quite lined up right now, I could feel it deflect the cap a little bit. So we're going to futz around with it a little bit more until I don't feel it deflect the cap. Okay, that's pretty good. So let's fire this out and try to center drill that drill. Well, that ain't going to work. I think that's bent. All right, I think that's the fourth one of these I tried, maybe the fifth. Let's see how I made out. Yeah, looks like I'm a little off. Son of a bitch. I got a number 40 drill. I want to drill all the way through that screw. I'm going to give myself some more RPMs. And a drop of oil. And let's see what happens. All right. All the way through the screw. Let's get the drill bit out of the way. I'm going to use easy out. This is a pretty small easy out. One of the troubles with easy outs is that as you tighten them in the hole, the taper goes in, and as the taper goes in, it expands the screw, which makes it tighter. So getting getting it to do what you want to do sometimes is hard. But anyway, hole looks pretty good. I don't think this is going to work, but we're going to try anyway. I'm going to heat it up a little bit and try to easy out it out of there. Let's see what happens. Lost the tap wrench. Nothing's happening at all. Not moving at all. Let me heat it up a little bit more. I could see crud boiling out between the screw and the mag body. Of course, the last thing you want to do is break the easy out off in the hole. Nothing's happening. Try one more time. I was really hoping this was going to work. I didn't think it would work, but I was hoping. That ain't budging. Son of a bitch. It's not that hot. Try it one more time. Put a little WD-40 in there. Yeah, that ain't working. All right, so let's drill it out. The tap drill size for a 1024 hole is a number 25. You know, let me see what I got. I might have a left-hand drill. Let me see if I got a left-hand drill. All right, I got a left-hand drill that is just about 10 thousandths smaller than the tap drill size. Let's stick that in there. Yeah, that didn't work. I was hoping the left-hand twist would grab it and spin it out of there. You got to try. All right, I'm going to go in with the number 25 tap drill for that hole. Watch carefully. You'll see the drill bit get deflected off center, even though the mill table hasn't moved. It didn't move much, but it did move some. And I actually didn't notice it until I was editing this video. So stay tuned for the fix because I figured it out later. And I'm just going to go in with a 1024 tap. I'm a little off center, it looks like. There's a piece of the old screw right there. Son of a bitch. Don't like it. Might work okay, though. Son of a bitch. Screw goes in a little tight. I might end mill that hole out and put a Healy coil in there. Let me go see what kind of Healy coils I got. Okay, I happen to have a 1024 Healy coil. Uh, Chucked up in the mill, I have a 3/16 end mill, which is just a little smaller than the drill size recommended, than the tap drill size recommended for the 1024 Healy coil tap. And I want to mill out this little wedge of steel that's left over from the original screw. And it looks like I'm right on top of it center-wise. So seemingly the mill was well centered over the hole, yet the hole is not directly below the mill, if that makes any sense to you. So I think either my center mill wandered off center or the drill wandered off center and the hole moved over a little bit that way. But I think I can mill out this little wedge of metal that's causing me trouble right now. And right here is a little bit of the side of that screw. I could still see threads on it. All right, so now I'm going to go back here with the tap drill for the hole, clean it up, and tap it for the 1024 Healy coil. This, by the way, is one of my Harbor Freight end mills. They got a whole set, I don't know, there's, let's see, 6, yeah, there's probably 20 of them in there, maybe 24. 3/16 to a ½ inch, and I use them for light duty stuff, and they so far have worked well. Okay, and my 1024 Healy coil set, I don't think I've ever used this before. I maybe used it once, maybe. Those threads look pretty good. Well, that looks good. Let's see if the cap goes on any better. Screw goes in nicely. I think it just hit the tang at the bottom of the hole. I got to knock the tang out when I'm done. All right. Yeah, happy with that. 3 screws going good. So now I got to repeat the process over here. I think what I'm going to do different is, I think I'm going to go in first with the end mill to try to get the end of that screw flatter so that the drill has got a better chance of going down the center. Let me try to flatten the end of that screw off. Let's get the cap out of the way. See what damage was done. Oh, that's better. That one looks like it's dead nuts right on. I'm going to go in with a stouter center drill so as not to, you know, that skinny one might have wandered. There's a little titty right in the middle of that. Got a way stouter center drill in there. All right, I'm happy with that. I'm going to go back in with the number 40 now that I got a center established. All right, I'm through. And let's try the same drill again. Ha! Try the same drill again. Ho ho. I'll try it once with no heat just for fun. That ain't moving at all. Let's heat it up. Thank you. Oh, hey, can you get the empty one out? Thank you, dear. Huh? Okay. I could see crud boiling out between the screw and the housing. See if I get lucky this time. Well, no such luck. All right, since I got the heating coil and everything out here, I'm going to go right to the right to putting the heating coil in. Well, I take that back. I'm going to try the left-hand drill just because. Why not? That didn't work. I'm just going to go in with the 13/64 and drill it for the heating coil. Well, with a little luck, all 4 screws should go in. Beautiful thing. All 4 screws go in easily. Nice. All right, so the threads are salvaged anyway. All right, now for the fun part. Mill all of this off to get it just down to this. All right, I want to trim this flange off. And I've decided to do this in probably the hardest, stupidest way possible. I could just clamp the mag body down in the milling machine and just face this off over here. I could do that, but I'm not going to. I've got it chucked up in the lathe, and I'm going to turn it off on the lathe. I happen to have a mandrel that is just about the same diameter as the inside of the magneto where the field poles or shoes parallel the magnet. So I've got the mandrel expanded in there, and I've been tapping this thing left, right, up, and down to get it zeroed out. And I've got it pretty good, I think. 2 thousandths. I think that's pretty good. Um, and of course, the criticality of it is that the part I machine has got to be perpendicular to the axis of rotation. Because when you bolt this thing down, if it's not, the shaft either won't turn or it'll turn and it'll bind. So I want to get the bottom of the magneto perpendicular to the axis of rotation, and this will get me pretty damn close. Now, the magneto base has got these ears on it, and of course every time one of these ears passes in front of the cutting tool, it's going to smack it, and that is likely to knock it out of true. So I'm going to get I'm going to get the Makita out, and I'm going to cut off these ears. Going to cut them off, so that'll give me less knocking around as this thing is rotating. I'm going to start turning it down, and once I get it closer to the axis, once I get it closer to the base of the mag, I'll put the dial indicator back on there and give it a little more knocking around and try to get it trued up the rest of the way. But yeah, I got it down to about 2, and of course the surface is not particularly flat in there, so who knows. I was running the dial indicator out here, and I was getting like a 10 thousandths variation, 10, 20 thousandths, and I assume these ears are a little bent. But anyway, inside here, much flatter, much better reading. So I'm going to go off camera, cut the ears off of this with the Makita and cutoff wheel, and then I'll bring you back for the machining operations. Alright, I decided to show you lopping these ears off with the Makita. And for you Triumph guys out there, this may be where you want to turn away. You may not want to watch this. But anyway, here it goes. Oops, plug in first. It'll never be a Triumph Magneto again. Yeah, I may cut a little more off here just to make the turning operation a little less lengthy and a little less violent. Yeah, that'll do it. All right, I'm going to make it round and then continue cutting in, but I want to get these lumps rounded off here first or next. And this is very sketchy, so I'm taking it real easy. It's actually working pretty well so far. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with that. All right, we're all the way around, so there's no more interrupted cuts. Just a little, well, actually, that's how slight the interrupted cuts are going to be. These pieces just break off. So now I want to go down until I'm flush with the bottom of that cavity. Let's recheck the 0. Well, the 0 really hasn't changed. I'm still within that 2 thousandths. Let me just give it a tap or two and see if I can get it a little bit closer. And I'm hoovering right around that 2 thousandths of an inch mark. I'm going to call that as good as I could get it. All right, I changed the setup a little bit. I moved my tool post holder over to the other slot on the cross slide, and that way I was able to get the tailstock closer, live center, and a little bit of support, because that chatter I anticipated being a problem if I allowed it to continue. So now, just a matter of taking us down to that height. That's looking pretty good. Very happy with that so far. This might work. God, I hope it works. All right, I'm putting there right on there. I'm going to take like 2 thousandths more off, and that should be good. And it might be 1 thousandth of an inch off. I really can't feel any ledge there, any step. Yeah, so pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That hopefully that'll work. All right, I'm very happy with that. A little crusty. We're going to hit it with the deburring wheel to smooth off some of the chunks. Then we're going to sandblast it. Like I said, it looks like I might be out here by 1 thousandth, but I can't even feel a ridge right there. So it's damn close. I think it'll be just fine. So we'll, like I say, deburt, hit it with a bead blaster, and it'll be ready for the next steps. All right, here is the finished product so far. Very happy with this. I may or may not finish polishing it out one of these days. Who knows? I just wanted to get to where I had a usable housing. A problem has arisen. Here is, of course, a magneto base. And this one, I thought this was going to fit tight on here, and it doesn't. So I cannot use this base to locate the holes. And you could see, these two holes are close together, and that coincides with these bosses that were left on the Triumph Magneto. And then inside here, a little harder to see. It's got grease all over it. Yeah. Inside here are the other two bosses for these two screws. But because this is loose on there, I can't use that to locate the holes. However, I took apart my good magneto. This one is very hot. And when I was preparing that magneto to mount on the tack drive, I made this adapter plate. And as it so happens, I made this adapter plate to be a real nice fit on the magneto base. So I am going to use this adapter plate to locate these holes. So I've got to locate, these holes, these mounting holes, whether it comes from this or comes from this on here. And it's critical that this is located in the right position so that the shaft will be concentric with the shaft in here and the bearing and all that. This one has got too much slop to use. This is the one I made for another magneto, and it fits much nicer. The problem is, how do you transfer the holes? Well, there's countersinks in here, and the trouble is the countersink shoulder is shorter than the point on this thing. So a transfer pump can't be located in the center because there's just too much slop. The same thing with the drill. If you just stick a drill in there, you're not going to be able to locate it on center because the point of the drill is going to fall in the middle there somewhere, and you won't be able to get it on center. So I made, this is going to be a one-time only tool, this little tiny punch with a very shallow point on it so that it could be centered in the shoulder of this base ring. So we're going to put it in there, and I'm lining it up. You got to line it up with the bosses, or you're going to have a screw sticking out of the side of the magneto. And I'm just doing that by eyeball. Having salvaged this mag out, I don't want to ruin it by drilling a hole in the wrong spot. And there it is right there, one tiny little punch. So that's where I got to drill it, right there. All right, there's just enough area here that I could get the guide block over the hole, so I could get the tap started going in straight. That's about got it. Started anyway. I find the more expensive the pieces I'm working on, the more careful I am tapping it. I'm going to switch to a different tap. I've got other taps that are better than this one. Okay, that's to the bottom of the hole. These are very shallow holes, and I need to get every thread possible. So I've got actually a broken quarter 20 that I just ground off, so I use it as a bottoming tap. And I might get another, I don't know, another turn out of it, maybe turn and a half, maybe even two. It feels like it's bottomed. Put a screw in there. Beautiful. And now I could punch these other holes and not worry about the base plate rotating on the mag. Everything looks good. You could probably barely see the dimples the center punch made with that very shallow point on it. But that's all I need to get a drill started on center. I'm going to tap the other other three holes. When you're using a plug tap in a blind hole, It's always a good idea to stop periodically and blow the chips out of the bottom. A plug tap shoves all the chips down into the hole. So if you're concerned about getting as deep as possible, you need to get the chips out of the way so the tap could go in all the way. This is a Joe Hunt casting, and there's voids. There's voids in the casting. When I was drilling it, I thought I felt, that feeling you get when you're drilling something when the drill punches through. I thought I felt that a couple of times drilling these holes, and now that I look down in there are voids. I drilled through some voids. Huh. Uh, and you could see here's a void, here's a couple of voids, here's a couple of voids, and I could see them on the sides of these holes. Huh. Anyway, apparently Joe Hunt, uh, I haven't been impressed by the way their mags work and the mags I've tested. Uh, Apparently, not particularly high quality castings. And if you look at this thing, it's pretty obvious there were big uh, mold marks. I ground off over here. I ground off over here. The whole thing just was not made particularly well. But anyway, 4 holes drilled in there. Anyway, the question is now, will the base fit? Beautiful. So, well, calibrated eyeball says it looks pretty much centered for what of it you could see down in there. But anyway, yeah, salvaged out Joe Hunt Magneto, Triumph Magneto converted to Harley. Yeah, I think this is going to work just fine. This is the top bearing. And for those of you who were wondering, yes, you can pry the snap ring out of there, although it is a little bit of a pain in the ass, and you can clean all of the rollers and put it back together again. This particular project is kind of a budget project that I don't want to spend a lot of money on. And this particular bearing is $50 in a lot of places where and if you could find it outside of the motorcycle, parts world. But yeah, I'm going to salvage this out and use it over again. It'll be fine. And this is the lower bearing. It's pretty crusty. I'm going to throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner and see what happens. But I suspect this bearing is no damn good. After you get the rollers and the race cleaned up, all you got to do is lather the cage up with some sticky grease, which most grease is pretty sticky. Shove the rollers in there and slip it back into the race and, wedge the snap ring back in there and it'll be fine. Just running a tap down through these top bearing support holes. They're 832 threads. I do have 832 Healy coils in case any of these holes are screwed up. Better to find out about it now than during final assembly. I do have new washers or gaskets, whatever you want to call these things. They're a fibrous kind of a material or gasket material. The originals were kind of a fiberglass thing. But in any case, I'll spring for the new gasket, and you got to put that in before you put the bearing in. This bearing support is kind of a delicate little piece. It's got a lot of protuberances on one side that prevent it from laying flat. Well, and you got to knock a bearing in there. So the likelihood is that you're probably going to damage it. So a while back, I made that little aluminum block and drilled some holes in it and openings to accommodate the protuberances on the back of the bearing support. So I could lay this thing on there, and now the bearing support is fully supported all the way around so that I can knock this bearing in without damaging it. This bearing is not a particularly tight press fit, but it is a press fit. And generally speaking, a few whacks with something to protect the race should knock it in pretty easily. Fairbanks Morse uses these thin steel washers to kind of suggest to the grease that it stays in the bearing instead of, running down into the magnet. These are pretty close fit in there. They sort of snap in place, but I do peen them in three places just a little bit to encourage them to stay. Uh, there were peen marks on the original, like a little tiny chisel they used to stake them in. And before I attempt to install the new washers, I usually scrape around the edge with a little carbide scraper to, get the old peening out of the way so the washer will sit flat in the housing. Chasing the threads on the upper bearing support. These are the two bottom bearings that I picked out of my floating ocean of magnetoflotsam over here. This one is no good. And hold it over by the mic, maybe you could hear it. This one's nice. Smooth, quiet. We're going to use this one. And as much as I hate to do it, because I never throw any of this magneto shit away, I'm going to throw this away. It's gone. The bottom bearing needs a seal on it. This is the kind of seal goes in. This is soft rubber. It's a little bit chewed up. As much as I hate to do it, I'm going to throw this one away. This one looks pretty good. I was going to use it until I started flexing it a little bit, and it cracked. And as much as I hate to do it, I'm going to throw this away. Here's the gasket washer seal that came out of the top bearing. As much as I hate to do it, I'm going to throw this away. This is the ultrasonic cleaner that I cleaned those bearings in. And you can see this crud in here. This is what came out of those bearings. This was clean before I cleaned the bearings in them. And just FYI, when I do a bearing like this that's shielded on one side, I put the shielded side on the top so that any crud that gets ultrasonically buzzed out of there falls down. If you had it upside right like this, that crud would just be sitting in the bottom of the bearing, I do believe. So, I don't know. I always put my bearings in upside down. And I've been using water and Simple Green. Seems to do a decent enough job. But anyway, that's the crud that came out of them. So I think it's time to knock this bearing in. Shielded side goes up to keep grease out of the magneto. Ooh, I need to put some grease in there first. Well, let's see if I can knock this in without fucking it up. That'll do it. All right, I got two snap rings dug out of my floating pile of magneto flotsam. I think we'll use this one. Well, that was pretty painless. Well, I think the camera was off, and you missed a little scraping around the edge of the recess here to get this washer to drop in. It's on now, though, I think. I just give it a couple little punches. You really don't want to distort the housing or anything too much. So, yeah, that's in there. And it's ready for magnet. This, as the bag says, is a V-twin new magnet. I bought this for another project. I didn't use it because it didn't seem like the magnetic field was as strong as I'd like it to be. But I got essentially a zero money invested housing here. So we're going to keep it the way it is, and we're not going to buy a new $350
neodymium
magnet for it. Fits the bearing really nice and snug though. And we'll just drop that in there. Of course, it wants to grab onto a side. This piece is delicate. You really need to be careful with this piece. I let it get twisted around. There we go. Needs a little bit of persuasion. And because it's a magneto, it gets the good plastic persuading hammer. There we go. Want to feel how it rotates before I tighten it up. Oh, it rotates nice. Real nice. Good. So now it's time for these, if I haven't lost them here kicking this shit around, these 4 little screws. I think I'm going to cruise down to Ace and see if they got some nice shiny new ones for that, just because. Went down to the local Ace, I got son of a bitch. Oh, they're always doing this to me over there, bastards. Fuck. They're always doing this to me, the ace. God damn it. The screws are number eights, okay? And they mixed up a number 6 and a number 8 pile. Son of a bitch. Idiots. Hate when they do that. So I will tighten down the 3 we got. Do I want to go back down there and get another one? I got enough of this together to check the one thing I really wanted to check. So let's put my other base on there. See, and here's proof that those punches work. That punch I put in there distorted that rim just enough that this is now a tight fit on that lip. Interesting. We'll just put 2 in for now. And we'll put this on. There we go. Well, you know what? Let's grab our wrench and snug them a little bit. So here's the test. If my holes are in the right spot and this adapter ring is centered to the magnet shaft and all of this is centered to the magnet shaft, this should rotate pretty easily. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. So this, right now, this is a usable magneto. Well, except for it's missing a few parts, but the core, the shell, this is good to go. I'm very happy with this. This fulfilled my goals. Now, I got here a set of points that's not too bad, so I may as well put it in. We'll do that in a minute. I think I'm going to run to Ace and bitch about their screws. So I went back to Ace and I bitched about their mixed up hardware and picked up a number 8 screw. So I've got 2 sets of old points in my sea of floating magneto jetsam. One set has the stud that secures the spring to the point base. The other set has the screw that secures the spring and the 2 or 3 wires to the point base. I don't like these because it's hard to wrangle all the bits and pieces together at once. And this set with the stud securing the spring to the point base has barely any wear on the points at all. So we're going to use these. We're going to clean them off with a little carb cleaner, of course, and stick them in the mag. I'm going to lightly clean these points off with something called Flex Stone. Back when I was a young mechanic, all the vehicles had points in them, and mechanics all had boxes of these in their toolboxes. And you just lightly pass between the points a couple times to just touch them up a little bit. Electronic ignition was just becoming a thing back then. These days, this Flexstone is pretty hard to find and pretty damn expensive. There's a place on eBay or Amazon that restores pinball machines, and pinball machines have points and relays in them, at least the old ones. And that's where I get this Flexstone at, and it's quite a little bit of money for one tiny little piece. I used to get it from the Snap-on guy for just a couple of bucks for a box. And for the record, Morris Magneto does not recommend sandpaper or files on the points. I don't know whether or not they approve of this Flexstone or not, but real old habits die hard. So a couple of swipes of this, I don't think hurts anything. So I'm going to go ahead and set these points. The gap is supposed to be 0.15, so I use two feeler gauges, an 0.14 and an 0.16. The 0.14 should go in with no drag on it whatsoever, and the 0.16 should have just a little bit of drag on it. You probably get away with being off by 1,000th, maybe 2, but that's about it. I like magnetos because very often on the 1,000cc motors, the point cam, one side will be okay and the other side might be off by 4,000ths. And it's real tricky to kind of get those to adjust up. You got to tap the advanced mechanism around and such. But the magnetos seem to be a lot more precise as far as the point gap is concerned. So I like doing it on a mag. Well, I think we're going to be wrapping this up. This project went better than expected. Wasn't quite as difficult as I thought it was going to be. Very happy with how true I was able to machine the bottom with respect to the center axis. Got a nice set of used points in there. It's got a good, well, as good as a V-twin magnet could be. I mean, it's got a new V-twin magnet, and it will perform as well as you would expect a V-twin part to perform. And read into that what you will. I'm not going to put a coil in it. I've got used coils I could pop in there right now, but I think I'm just going to leave it empty until I need to use it for something, or until somebody wants it or wants to buy it from me or whatever. But yeah, really pretty happy with this. It worked out well. Threw the little vent covers in the sandblaster and painted them black because they were so rusty. The only thing a major consequence that is lacking is, of course, the drive. And kind of the good thing about this is, now that it is set up with one of those magnets that takes the hex on the shaft, this thing could go either way. And by either way, I mean it could be fit up with the drive that goes in the tack drive, or it could be fit up with a standard vertical drive. And I'd have put a vertical drive in it, but I don't have a shaft, so that won't work. And this is the drive that will go in the Ironhead 1000cc Ironhead tack hole, this one here. And this is my hot mag I'm saving for one of my projects. This guy here, I'm just going to put the cap on it to, protect the inside guts. But yeah, very happy with this. Mostly new hardware. The broken off screws didn't come out, but was able to drill them out and put some Healy coils in there, so that's just as good as removing them. This old cap that came with it really looks pretty good. It looks like brand new. So yeah, very happy with this. This worked out well. Really happy with how nicely it rotates. These old bearings with the little ultrasonic clean and hand cleaning. Yeah, pretty nice. So yeah, one really, really good mag and one that might be okay. Anyway, very happy with the way all this worked out. And with that, I am out of here. Take it easy. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. Just a quick reminder. You can help support and grow this channel, first of all and most importantly, by hitting that subscribe button. So if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to do a little more, join me on Patreon. Links down below. So go ahead and join me on Patreon if you feel so inclined. And finally, coffee cups, stickers, and gas tank covers are available. This is a new design coffee cup. I like the old ones, but I like these new ones even better. And to go along with the new design coffee cup, there is a new design sticker. Links will be provided in the description down below. Coffee cups and stickers are included with the Patreon membership. And thank you all ever so much for watching these videos. I really appreciate it. Bye.